Okay, now let's come here, lambda functions. Now see here, I'm going to write like lambda. After that, just colon, one statement I written. See, syntax you have to understand first. Okay, VDS. Syntactical, it's valid or invalid, check it. Syntactical, it's valid or invalid. Okay, just wait. Okay, the process is like going on, right? Now see here, this is which kind of, what is the type of this one? It's like a function type only or not? It is like a function type only or not? If I write like dffn, okay, print, okay, VDS. Okay, now what about fn? What about fn? If I execute this one, my fn is like what? One function. If you see the type, what is the type of this fn? What is the type of this fn? It's like a function, right? Same like this, my lambda also what? Function only or not? Yes or no? But the difference between this one and this one, what is the difference? What is the difference? Difference between this one and this one. This is having the name and this is not having the name or not. Okay, now syntactically lambda function, how it looks like, see, lambda. Can I write some parenthesis here? Syntactically valid or invalid? See this, syntax error. You should not write any parenthesis. Okay, the next one is like lambda fn, something like this. Is it valid? No. If you write like fn, it's like turned to be named function, right? So that you should not. Whenever you want to write one anonymous function, that anonymous function is nothing but no name function. Anonymous functions is nothing but the function which is not having any name. We can create anonymous functions in Python using lambda keyword. Okay, now syntactically lambda, after that block of statements you have to write, right? So one keyword, okay, colon you can write, the block of statements you can write it. Parameters, if you want parameters, how we can, arguments, function may have some arguments, right? So if you write like this, again syntactically invalid. Now if it is like lambda function, how we can give the parameters, you know? Directly you can give, directly you can give the parameters like this. Directly you can give a comma b comma c, print b, ts. Okay, like this you can give the parameters. Observe, without parameters, how the lambda function is looks like. Without parameters, without parameters, my lambda function is looks like this. With parameters, with parameters, see syntax, this is, you have to remember, with parameters, how the lambda function is looks like. Lambda, one parameter a, another one, like this, any number of parameters you can. Now your statement you can write like this or not. This is like with the parameters. Next, without return type. Okay, without return value, like this. With return value, so if you want to return some value, can I return it? So how we can return? Can I return like this? Now is it like valid syntax in Python? In Python lambda functions, is it like valid syntax, return keyword? No, it is not accept the return keyword. Then how this function return some value? Then how this function return some value, we'll see that one. The next question is like, in my lambda function, can I write more than one statement? Can I write more than one statement in the lambda function? Now here print, okay, here one. Can I write like more than one statement? See this here, more than one statement I am able to write or not? I am not able to write more than one statement. I am not able to write. Yes or no? Okay, how many statements we can write then? We can write only one statement in the lambda function or not. Okay, if you want more than one statements, then if you want more than one statement, come on, in the lambda function, if you want more than one statement, what is the option? If you want more than one statement, what is the option? Very simple, you can write like fn. Okay, this function you can call it. this function you can write any number of statements. Okay now, so the thing is, in lambda functions, can I use return keyword? Yes, no. Can I use return keyword? No.
No.
In lambda functions, can I write more than one statement?
No.
More than one statement? No. More than one statement also? No. These all are like a syntactical rules for lambda function. Okay, we should not write more than one statement. At the same time, we should not write return. We can write any number of arguments like this with comma separation only. Okay, if you don't want to write any statements, any arguments, don't write it. Just simply write like this. Agreed? Up here, okay? Okay, if there is no return, if there has no return keyword, how lambda function return the value? Return the value. That is the question or not? Yes or no? So tell me, if it is like a named function, df(fn), return 10, valid or invalid? Valid or invalid?
Valid.
Valid.
100%. Don't think more. If I call fn, this statement gives me what? If I call fn, this statement gives me what?
10.
10, right? Okay, this statement gives me 10. Any statement returns me some value. How we can hold it? With one variable or not? So what is my val? My val is like a 10 or not? Okay, if it is like lambda, the same statement, if you want to write lambda, okay, do we have any statements, any arguments here? Tell me, do we have any arguments? No,
No.
right? Okay, after that, in the body, how many statements are there? One statement. Lambda also supports for how many statements? One statement. But in the lambda, can I write return keyword? No, right? Okay, here, if you write like this, in your lambda functions, it supports for only one keyword, right? Okay, one statement, right? That statement by default return statement. By default, the return statement in the lambda. So if you want to return some value like this in lambda function, how we can write it? If it is like named function, you are going to write like this in the lambda. Okay, if you write like this, this is by default one statement you can write in the return, okay, in the body, right? In the lambda function, that one statement treated like what? Return statement only. So that return 10, okay, no need to return. Why? Because in the lambda, that statement is treated like what? Return statement only or not? Agreed? Come on.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay then. So the next question is like, if the lambda function is not having the name, how we can call it? If it is like having the name, we can call. Named functions can call using name, right? Using name or not? Then how we can call lambda functions? That is the question. Then how we can call the lambda functions? If it is not having the name, then how we can call it? That is the question. There has three ways or there. There has three ways we can. Three ways we have. We have three ways. Okay, one is like using immediate invoking. Immediate invoking. Okay, what is this immediate invoking? We'll see. The next one is like assign to one variable. Assign to one variable. The next one is like as a callback. As a callback. There has three ways are there to execute your lambda functions or not. One is like what? Immediate invoking. Another one is like assign to one variable. Another one is like as a callback. So shall we go with one by one? Okay, now immediate invoking. What is this immediate invoking? See, you have the lambda function. Lambda, no statements, nothing. Okay, print VTS. This is the lambda function or not? Yes or no? If you click on this one, it is what? Function. So this one, can anyone tell me what is the type? What is the type of this one? What is the
String.
type of this
Function.
function, right? It is a function. If you have a function in your hand, what you can do? If you have a function in your hand, what you can do? This is the function you said. That is 100% correct. Okay, so that this is my function. See, syntactically, this is the function or not? This is the function. If it is a function, can I call it? If it is a function, can I call it? Yes, or no?
Yes.
Okay, it is nothing but what? Immediate invoking or not? If the function is here only, immediately you invoke this one or not? It's like a immediate invoking or not? Yes or no? Got my point? This is one. The next one is like assign to one variable. So how we can assign to one variable? How we can assign to one variable? It's very simple thing, right? Now, can I write lambda function? Lambda, okay, print VTS. Now, if I assign this one to one variable, A, B, C like this. Now, can you tell me what is my A type? My type of A is what? If you hold 10, my type of A is like integer. If you hold one function, my type of A is what? One function or not? Yes.
Yes.
Your
Function.
hand function is there. What you can do? Can you call it? Yes or no?
Yes.
By assigning to one variable, you can call it. This is one way. The another way is like as a callback. Okay, as a callback. Now, can anyone answer this question? Okay. Now here DFFN. Now, can anyone talk something about FN? FN take how many parameters or arguments?
One.
FN take how many arguments? One argument. What is the type of that argument?
Function.
It's a function. How we can say function based on the usage or not? Yes or no?
Yes.
Now, if I write like this, what exactly the error was? If I write like this, what exactly the error was?
Is callable.
Okay, integer object is not callable or not. Integer object is not callable or not. If you want to get the message, okay, that means some output, you should have to pass what? One function as a parameter or not? Yes or no? Yes or no? So my output should be Sachin. So can you write some code? So can I write like something like this? Print Sachin. Okay. Now can I execute this? Yes. Now here Fn of F1. My output is what? Sachin or not? So what I did here, Fn I called by passing one parameter. What is this parameter? F1. F1 go to where? A. Here what you did? A calling. A is what? F1. F1 is which type? Function. That means indirectly you are calling what? Function F1 or not. Whenever you call function F1, you can get the output is like Sachin or not. In this operation, how many functions involved? In this operation, how many functions involved? Come on. How many
Two.
functions in this operation? Two functions, right? One is what? Fn.
One.
Another one is what? F1.
F1.
What is this Fn? The function which take function as a parameter, that function we can say like a higher order function. The function which you pass as a parameter to another function, that one we can say like what? Callback or yes or no? Which function you pass as a parameter? F1 you passed as a parameter. So my F1 is a callback. Which function take function as a parameter? Fn. So my Fn is what? Higher order function or not? My fn is like a higher order function or not. Now my question is, here you passed fn take one parameter, right? That parameter type, what you said, my parameter should be what? My fn take one argument, that argument should be what?
Function.
Function, right? Okay,
Yes.
you said like a function, but you not mentioned like a my argument should be named function only, my argument should be lambda function only, you not mentioned, right? So that my fn take one function as an argument, so can I go with my function is like a lambda function? Any problem?
No.
Okay, now if you come here, my Dhoni printed or not? Now tell me, my fn is a higher order. Here the my lambda function is like what? A callback or not? Yes or no? As like a callback. Okay, if you use like a callback, we can call the lambda functions or anonymous functions or not? Yes or no?
Yes.
Come on. So that there has how many ways are there to call your lambda functions? Means there has three ways. One is like using self-invoking, another one is like assigning to one variable, the next one is like as a callback or not, as a callback. Understood? So return value, I said like if you write like this. Okay, now tell me, lambda function, only one statement is there. That statement by default is what? Is a return statement or not? If you call a function, okay, that function may return a value. So my val is what now? My val is what? If it is really the return statement, my val should be 10 or not? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
So what you can understand, in the lambda function, whatever the statement is there, by default, that statement is like what? That value is like what? Return value only or not? Understood? So my question is now straight question. You have a lambda functions or there, you have a named functions or there. Which one is recommended to use? Okay, in this place lambda functions are recommended to use, in this place okay named functions are recommended to use, like that. Can you tell me, the difference? The lambda functions is the best suitable here, the named functions is the best suitable here, like that you can tell. Come on. Lambda versus named. Okay, very simple. Yeah. See, I have a function. Okay, that means I have a functionality. That functionality I want to use in multiple places. Okay, that functionality I want to use in multiple places. Okay, then that type, which one is the best, lambda or named?
Name.
Okay, which one is the best? Named, right? I have one functionality, like multiple statements in that particular functionality, thousands of lines of code, whatever it may be. Okay, there has a functionality I want to use in multiple places. Then the time best suitable is what? Multiple places. Okay, best suitable what? Named or not? One time usage, just one time only. Okay, I don't want to use any other place. Then that type, can you go with what? Lambda or not? Yes or no? Now, if you want to provide the security, see, if you created a function, if anybody know the name, they can directly call or not. If they're not use also, they can directly call, and there may be a chance of changing the value also or not. Yes or no? Okay, but if it is like a named function, that one possible. But if it is like lambda function, is it possible or not possible? Tell me. Is it not possible or possible? Not possible. Why? Okay, why? Because reference is not available, right? For the lambda functions, direct reference. Yes, no? Come on. The next one is like memory management wise. Memory wise, okay, lambda functions are like okay best. thing. Okay, best thing like okay, best way to use. See here, okay, where exactly the memory management here. I have a function here. Okay, just this one only you can take it. This one only, the last example only you can take it. Now tell me, if you want to call a function with named functions, tell me, with named function, what you have to do? You have to define a function or not? Yes or no? Whenever you define a function f1, it is going to allocate at some memory for this particular f1 name or not? Yes or no? Whether it is like a variable or it's like a function, whatever it is going to allocate some memory or not? Yes, no? Come on. Now, whenever you define a function, the memory got allocated for this particular function. So whenever you call, you can pass it. See, once you pass my f1 execution also completed. Okay, that's okay, my operation is done. Still my memory allocated for this particular f1 or not? Why? Because to exist my f1 function, okay, they need some space. So that f1, whenever you define, they allocated the memory for the f1. Whenever you pass the f1 as a parameter, yes, my execution is completed, that's okay. Still my f1 is available, okay, allocated with some memory or not? Yes or no? But if I go with the lambda functions, if I go with the lambda functions like this, now tell me, to this particular one, memory got allocated or not allocated? No. Whenever you pass this particular value as a parameter to my f1, now my a is assigned with what? My a is assigned with what? My a is assigned with a lambda function or not? Now, whenever my a is assigned with lambda function, to my a, dynamically some value, some memory allocated. Whenever my a execution is completed, the memory is like destroyed. If it is like named function, still my memory is available to my f1 or not? Still my memory is allocated to my f1. But if it is like lambda function, you assign, you pass this lambda function as a parameter to my fn. My a allocated memory for this particular lambda. Whenever my a called, lambda executed, whenever my function execution is completed, all the local variables memory got destroyed or not? So that in this case, my fn execution is completed, still my memory allocated for my f1, but my fn execution is completed, to my lambda function memory allocated, at the same time it was destroyed or not? Yes or no? Got my point?
Yes.
Okay, so that memory management wise, best thing is like go with the lambda functions. One time you says, okay, you want to pass as an argument to another function, better to go with lambda functions. Better to go with the lambda functions. Understood? Okay, how we can pass the arguments to this lambda function? How we can pass the arguments? Okay, now this is my lambda. Okay, here a comma b. Okay, give some space, a comma b. Okay, print a plus b. Print a plus b. Okay, this is my lambda function which take two parameters or not? Through self-invoking, if you want, if you call like this, what exactly the error was? What exactly the error was?
We need to pass the
Error was two
looking
required
the
positional arguments. Okay, missing two required positional arguments a and b or not? So can I pass those two required positional arguments? Now the answer should be what? 30 or not? Yes or no? Agreed, everyone? This is the way you can pass some arguments to the lambda functions or not? Okay, this is our lambda function syntax. This is our lambda function syntax. Where we are going to use in future, okay, we'll discuss. Okay, there has map method is there, there has reduce method is there, filter method is there. Those are going to take a callback functions as a parameters. That time we are going to use like a lambda functions. So for good, any questions? So overall, what things we covered today? One is like looping execution. Okay, we covered like for and while. And if you want to break in the middle, you can break, and you want to continue, you can continue. Okay, skip the next level execution and continue with the next iteration. Okay, for, while, break, continue. Now for else also valid combination in Python. while else also valid combination in Python. Okay, these things we covered. The next one is like what? Okay, anonymous functions. Anonymous functions in Python. Okay, how we can create the anonymous functions in Python using lambda keyword or not? Okay, so once you created a lambda function, how many ways? Okay, this is the lambda functions. How many ways we can invoke it? How many ways we can invoke it? Syntactically we saw lambda functions without parameters is this one, lambda functions with parameter is this one. In lambda function, can I use return keyword? No, that statement itself return key, return value. In lambda functions, can I write more than one statement? Syntactically no, it's not valid. If there has no return keyword, how the lambda function is going to return the value? Like this only. Okay, named functions can call using the name, but how we can call the lambda functions? Three ways we can. Immediate invoking like this, assign this one to one variable. The next one is like as a callback also we can. Okay, this is the return value. Lambda versus named, if you come, whenever you define a function, they are going to allocate some memory. Okay, but if it is like a lambda function, we are going to pass dynamically this lambda function so that memory allocated and it's going to destroy it here. Okay, why? Because if you pass this one to argument to one function, okay, in that particular function, once my execution is completed, all the block of statements execution is completed, the memory allocated for the local variables got destroyed. Okay, but here it is not happened. Okay, when you can go with the lambda, when you can go with the named. Okay, if you want to use one function or functionality in multiple places, just create like a named function. You can call that named function how many times you want. Yes or no? There may be security issue here. Why? Because if the name you know, you can change that particular value also or not. Okay, if you have the operation is like one time operation only, want to provide some security, then the time you can go with the lambda. Okay, memory management wise, you can go with the lambda functions. Lambda functions can take parameters also. You can pass the parameters like this. Okay, any questions? Okay, then thank you guys. Thanks for joining. Okay, we'll upload this video. Just you can go through that. Yeah, running notes and the programs also I'm going to upload. Okay. Any questions, anyone? Okay, then thank you guys. Thanks for joining. Harsha and Subramanian, do you have any questions? Harsha, Subramanian. Oh, tomorrow I will tell you. Okay, from Harsha, you can unmute and talk if you have any questions. Tomorrow I will tell you from where you need to download the running notes and everything, and we are going to share you the videos also through Google Drive. Okay. Tomorrow onwards we can start the process. Okay, then thank you guys. Bye.